What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Woodward Pistons table talk. Woodward Pistons table
Hey,
talk.
I like that.
We live, baby. We're here.
Let's get it.
Let's rock, man. Look, man, I look forward to y'all. Yeah, I was wondering when Kanye West was showing up, man. I was wondering.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's still like a total gamble of whether or not it'll do the chipmunk thing. So that was I hadn't even tested it in like a week. So that was some vulnerability I just showed there.
Yeah,
it just hit, bro. It just hit. So it was worth it. Hey, what's good, John Bradshaw?
What up, John?
What's good?
What's going on, everybody? But with that, welcome everybody to Woodward Pistons Table Talk. Obviously, we got the Godfather of Woodward Pistons and the co-host of the founder, the Godfather of Woodward Pistons, my man Kool-Aid over here. Troy Kool-Aid, my guy.
Sean Murphy.
Hey, I appreciate you, brother. Hey, listen, man. Kool-Aid, you know me. I just like to show you I like to show you love and show you flowers, man, because you're my guy. But also, because I know if I won't do it, I know you won't do it for yourself. Dang it. So I got it.
That's true.
So I gotta put my guy
look, man, this
where he belongs.
I appreciate that, man. We got each other's backs.
Absolutely, man. You're my king on his throne. But also we got the queen of Pistons Twitter, Lexi. What's going on, Lexi? How we doing? Thank you for being here.
Good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we missed you. It's good to see you.
Yeah. Definitely did.
Yeah. And then last but most certainly not least, Chance the Rapper's cousin, downtown Deuce,
Let's go.
is in the building.
Boy. Oh boy, dropping heat.
Not really related to Chance, but you could convince me that there's some resemblance there.
Not the first time I've heard that one. So yeah, I ain't mad at it.
Hey,
and he's just as talented musically, maybe a little bit more. I
could
be
people
biased.
Tell me I look like Drew Carey, so believe me, I would feel pretty good about Chance the Rapper.
Yep.
Oh man, hey, listen, man, both of them are rich, so
facts. Facts. Kool-Aid, by the way, you act like you're not talented, bro. Come on, man.
Hey, look.
Speaking of which, really quick, shameless plug, y'all stay tuned for the Woodward Pistons EP coming soon.
Dude, all I'm gonna say, that little teaser you dropped, Deuce, that was fire. That was genuinely fire. And that
appreciate it.
I knew that music was your craft. I knew you were in the lab.
Well, they already started.
Sorry, I'm not laughing. I'm just laughing at the car.
They couldn't even get through the sentence, bro. Like,
I'm sorry.
Probably barely started.
Oh shoot.
Oh my gosh, I just saw that comment and it broke me. But but Deuce, I just heard that was like one of the first times I really got to hear your music as well, and it was just like, man, my boy's talented. So
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, be sure that you're looking out for whatever Deuce is cooking up in the lab. So
and Kool-Aid. And Kool-Aid.
And Kool-Aid, of course. We never leave out Kool-Aid.
Well, we need Kanye West on these things, man. We need the
ad-libs.
Come on,
bro. Have to do that. Yeah.
Background. I'm through.
Hey, I would not be opposed. I actually would be willing to hop on. So we'll figure out a way to get some studios time,
bro,
man, without a doubt.
Taylor, bro.
You won't let it go either. He's on it.
It breaks me every time I hear it.
Pause.
But it's like Andre Drummond at the free throw line. Like, I love you, Dre. I love you, Dre. Shout out to him.
I didn't know we were at a brickyard talking about Andre Drummond at the free throw line, but anyway.
Ooh, shots fired.
No, bro. Just sipping my Batman tea.
All right, Kate.
Hey, yeah, that's the K Crusader signal. That's not your Batman tea. That's the K Crusader signal. But
hey, listen, Sean, our NBA representation at Woodward Sports from Half Court, bro. Let's get on this really quick before we get into the Pistons Summer League and Killian Hayes. We got to talk Killian Hayes, people. We have to talk Killian Hayes. I don't care if you think it's overreaction or not. We got to. Yeah. We got to let Lexi get on her soapbox as well about Keegan Murray.
She's been waiting.
She gets all right. Let's set this up because I think there's a couple victory laps that we get to have on this show.
Let's go, brother.
I think Lexi gets a minute on Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
And I also get a minute on Chet Holmgren. If
Oh,
she gets a minute
okay.
on Keegan Murray, I get a minute on Chet Holmgren.
Absolutely.
Mhm. So
I'm
we'll
with
set
it.
that up. Yeah. It's only the summer league, but still, Lexi and I are
don't
feeling pretty
care.
darn good.
Hey, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yo, this will be our from half court segment right in the beginning, bro. Deandre Ayton, Sean, tell
Yeah.
us, man.
Yeah.
First of all, tell the people why we buffed up and then get us in the
I
deal.
know.
Yeah,
I need to get me a pair. Dang.
You and me both,
absolutely,
Lexi.
man. Listen.
Seriously, where's
listen.
our pair, guys?
First
It's
of
all
all,
right, Lexi. We gonna go get ours. It's cool. We gonna get
first
ours.
of all,
Yeah, we don't need you guys. Whatever.
First of all, the reason we buffed up the first one we buffed up Kool-Aid is because the Pistons buffed up this summer, and
They
because
did.
we're feeling
Facts.
pretty strong going into this season. We're walking in with a new swagger, a new confidence, a
Hey.
new
Love
attitude, and
it.
a new era in Detroit. And when we got handed these buffs at draft night, we knew we had to carry these on. When I saw my boy Kool-Aid hopped on with these, I knew I had to bring them out myself. So here we are. But
I'm mad at you.
in
I'm
addition,
mad at you.
in
guys.
addition,
Let's
I was
fly.
saying to Kool-Aid, I really think our phrase of what we did this summer, if I truly had to say it, we got buffed up.
We
I
got
also
buffed
need
up, man. I got my beach bod on and everything, bro. I'm
so
ready.
here's the fun thing. I can hardly read this comment, which tells you I also need a prescription pair. So that's the fun little behind the scenes thing, is that I give up my eyesight sort of. But in
Somebody
all
said-
seriousness, so Deandre Ayton, let's get into it. So
Yeah. And then
according
we'll
to
get
Adrian
that comment after.
Wojnarowski and Shams, DeAndre Ayton, as you know, was the biggest free agent on the market, and today signed the largest offer sheet in NBA history with the Indiana Pacers on a 4-year, $133 million deal. And immediately the Phoenix Suns matched it. And so after all these months of the Phoenix Suns reports and suggestions that he was ultimately, yeah, exactly. So yeah, they might need some buffs to hide the tears. The Pacers thought that they were going to have their chance at a top caliber talent.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad we don't got to see him in Indy either.
yeah, 100%. That there's definitely a sense of relief that there is not a core of Tyrese Halliburton, DeAndre Ayton, and Benedict Mathurin brewing in Indiana, because that would have been dangerous.
My goodness. Oh, that would have been what we thought we were getting.
Yeah,
we
so-
were getting K, Jaden, and Ayton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So after all these months and speculation, originally looking like him, it looked like he was going to end up in the Central Division somehow, right? Whether it was with us, whether it was with the Pacers. Really, the only other team that had the cap space to go out and make this move was the Spurs, and they were rebuilding. So it just didn't make much sense. I think you saw a market that dried up almost immediately because of the league-wide hesitancy of paying that type of player that type of money. I think you saw in particular Troy Weaver when he had the opportunity to go get the big man that they liked in the draft, which they clearly did a good job of hiding that they liked a big man in this draft, let alone that they liked Jalen Duren. What up, though, Carl, my boy?
Yo, what's good, bro?
Yeah, always got to show love
That's
to
our
Carl.
C2.
Glad you're here, brother. But in addition, with that, for Ayton now, first of all, for the Suns, it puts them in a really awkward situation because now they cannot trade DeAndre Ayton until January, and they technically can't trade him without his approval until next season. So really, if you're the Nets or if you're the Suns, you're kind of hoping, in my opinion, I think they really brought DeAndre Ayton back as a hopeful piece to put in a Kevin Durant trade down the road. I really think that's their focus, and I think that kind of trade's harder to do without DeAndre Ayton in the fold. I think the Suns are kind of hoping that Ayton doesn't want to be there, and that he would approve that trade as soon as it could happen. KD, just because KD's getting traded doesn't mean he'll get traded before the season starts.
Yeah.
And this could very much carry out. So first of all, I think it was a clear sign that the Suns are a dysfunctional organization. And despite their recent successes that have kind of covered a lot of that up, this kind of brought that back into the light, right? Robert Sarver is one of the worst owners in basketball. There's an investigation going on about their culture and about everything that they have going on within the Phoenix Suns organization. So this was just one little inkling of their dysfunction and everything. Like, they let this entire thing carry on for months, a fractured relationship between Monty Williams and their head coach, benching him in the playoffs, saying that you didn't want to pay him, not giving him the offer, letting all of this drama take fold, let him go to talk to other teams, just as soon as he signs an offer sheet to match it. So,
and meanwhile, Troy Weaver just used it all as a smokescreen to get the 2 players he wanted in the draft.
Yeah, and the Pacers are down bad too because they moved cleared about 4 guys out just to get him. So they didn't think that Phoenix was going to match, and now they're left with all this extra space, and they can't even go get him. But
what's with Turner, bro?
I don't know, bro. I think Sean just kind of hinted at it when he talked about Troy Weaver, and I think either cool, like you mentioned it too about Troy Weaver. This just shows once again, I say all the time, the legend of Troy Weaver. I mean, so we got Jalen Duren, right? I'm not saying he's DeAndre Ayton right now. I think he has the potential to be that type of guy for us. And here's the crazy part. We got DeAndre Ayton at $33 million a year, right? You got Jalen Duren at 1/10 of that, at $3 million this coming season.
Yep.
Talk about a bargain for a player that can grow into that type of player that Ayton is. So it's just amazing. The legend of Troy Weaver, man. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, he went in with all this cap space and legitimately came out with like a bunch of rookies, young players, future. He didn't go out there and say, let's try and accelerate this rebuild. Let's just try and take the shortcut or this, that, and the other. And I don't believe that signing DeAndre Ayton is necessarily a shortcut. But when you look at all the other things that worked out for us this summer so far, you realize that wouldn't necessarily have been the best way to use that money, especially if next year, the way that he has these contracts slotted and the ways that he can get some of these other players traded off, we could be players in free agency next year. And if DeAndre Ayton was the only big fish this year, man, just wait till next year. Pull your chips off the table, come back next year in the summer and have fun with it.
So as someone that was because as you remember, I was a loud proponent of being okay with the Pistons signing DeAndre Ayton, and obviously in hindsight, I'm thrilled with the position that we're in now, right?
Yep.
But I mean, listen, the reason why we were excited about the idea of a DeAndre Ayton in Detroit is the same reason the Pacers took their chance. And it's the same reason why the Suns ultimately matched that offer, is that even though it is a lot of money, DeAndre Ayton is a high talented player that's very young, that very much could have been a cornerstone piece of a young core in Detroit. And it's one of those things where if he was truly brought in, it really would have only been if that was Troy Weaver's guy and if that was the decision he was going to make. And clearly now you see that wasn't the main plan. Detroit did what they ultimately wanted to do. And even though they might not have a guy that is DeAndre Ayton right now, they have a guy that they clearly believe from what Dwayne Casey has said that they very much believe could be a Sean Kemp type of guy down the road. So
scary.
Yeah, man. So all around, I think, with the Suns, I just think with the Kevin Durant trade, I think that's just hanging everything over the NBA right now. And the Suns are kind of at the mercy of that and are kind of making moves based on that. And if they don't end up with Kevin Durant, I think, it would be dumb for them to not have DeAndre Ayton and to let him walk, especially with all the recent success you've had. So to me, this just feels like the Suns just let a lot of noise and drama surround their organization for really not a good reason. So here we are.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, with this DeAndre Ayton situation, I am glad that the Pistons are just kind of outside of the drama, just kind of doing their own thing, man. And it's a situation where, have we been this comfortable as Pistons fans going through a summer in how long?
Not in a long time.
I'm over here sitting here like we just came off the championship, man. Like we just had the
right.
Like, it's a
or that we're like competing for one next year, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm like ready to go.
Yeah, it's like even though they're still building, still growing, it's comfortable to be able to get behind a path and a direction and a plan that we know is going somewhere. And honestly, man, when you can see a lot of the different pictures and a lot of where people's heads are at, the fans' minds are now in a place of restoration. When you see the different pictures of the backcourts throughout history, I saw the one that went up. I forgot who did it, so I definitely apologize. But it had Isaiah and Joe up top. It had Rip and Chauncey. It had the two trophies for them. It had one for Rip and Chauncey, and then it had loading for Kay Cunningham and Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
And with them preaching this mantra of restoration, you want to see that the front office and the organization and the coaches and everybody's doing everything they can to try to actually bring us that. And I appreciate that, man. I really do. So it's like sitting here looking at this now. We came into this we came through the draft season, I guess, looking at different prospects, we came away with two of the ones that we said we'd be okay with. If it was Keegan and Duran, if it was Jaden and Duran, if it was Jaden and Matherin, if it was a plethora of combinations, we were okay with a few of these guys. And one of the guys was out of our reach. That's Chet Holmgren that we're going to talk about just briefly. And another one of the people, we didn't even get an opportunity, but we thought, if he falls to the Pistons, he's going to be a good player. And that's what? Keegan Murray. So, hey, look, let's start with Lexi, man. Tell the people about Keegan Murray. Let's go. Get on that soapbox. You said he was going to be legit.
I did. And I wasn't lying. I mean, I watched him enough that, I knew that this like hard worker, this determined player was going to show up. It's not like that was just going to end leaving Iowa, and especially like when it came towards the right before the draft, he was just getting hated on. It was like, oh, he's not going to go top 5. That's crazy. He won't even go top 12. So I think, he just really came out swinging, and I'm loving it, and we get it. We don't want to be too overexcited or like overcompensate for summer league, but that's just the player he is. That's a player he was in college for those that watched him, and that's a player he's going to continue to be. So I just want to say I knew what I was talking about. So
I want to point out, a lot of the people on this podcast, even though like some of us like even myself, that as someone that was in the Ivy camp kind of all along, kind of since day one, that was where I landed. Even that, you still know the value that Keegan Murray brings. And everyone that was saying that Keegan Murray couldn't play basketball, you just weren't paying attention to the draft because literally
you weren't part of the Big Ten fans. You didn't watch that.
and you didn't see the consistency in the way that he approached the game each and every day. So, I mean, that's just the big thing, is that it's not a surprise to us, but I think, the thing that's been surprising to me is there were people that were saying that the Rockets screwed up selecting Jabari Smith Jr. over Keegan Murray, which the fact that was a narrative that we had after how everyone was reacting in the stream.
Right.
Like, that's like, what a 180, man.
Look, exactly. Keegan, we all
we don't want to over exaggerate it, here, but like,
it's like we all wanted Keegan Murray. We were all comfortable with Keegan Murray. I don't know if that was the pick that we wanted in terms of potential, but we all said that Keegan might be, even over the top 3 picks, the most NBA ready. Now, as things are shaking out, it's looking like Paolo is definitely NBA ready.
He's ready.
And Keegan Keegan and Ivy are looking like players who are just that, not just as, but maybe just as NBA ready, man. It's tough.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, they're ready for sure. I think they're ready to compete. Now, will it, like, obviously I think they still have a little bit of time till they get, to their true potential and ceiling. Right. But those 2 players for sure, outside of like Mancaro, like it's
First of all, shout out to Adam. Shout out to King. Shout out to Adam. But there are a few guys every summer league where you're like, okay, they're good, they're ready. Let's sit them down. We talk about it every year, Kool-Aid, with Sadiq Bay. You see 1 or 2 games, you're like, okay, let's sit him down. We can tell he's good. It looks like with Keegan Murray, with Ivy, with Paolo, those guys, you're like, okay, they're ready. We can see that they're gonna make the transition, they're gonna make the jump, they're good. Those few guys, to me, those 3 guys, I can tell right away. Because the thing about Ivy, I was saying, okay, he's got the speed advantage in college. How does that transition to the NBA? And even though summer league, you can see right away, he may not be 2 gears faster than these guys, but he's still at least 1 gear faster than everybody else. Okay, go sit down. We can see you're ready. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the season plays out.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. And
I think he got picked where I thought and like where he deserved to be picked. He got picked. I don't think there's any excuse to put him higher than where he got picked. You know what I mean? But he definitely deserves to be that. So.
Yep. And I know Rod, as it relates to Keegan Murray, he said, the Kings didn't Kings. Even though Jaden Ivey, with the potential and the things that we see out of him, what we believe he can be, we believe that the Kings made the right pick for where their organization is right now. And honestly, looking at their situation right now, it looks pretty good. I know that we were all a little weirded out by the Tyrese Halliburton thing, but I can't really complain about how their team looks right now.
As much as I joke, I mean, like a lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, and DeMontis Sabonis. That could definitely that if that reaches like the ceiling of its talent, they can definitely go and try and break that playoff drought. Like, good for them.
Yeah, for sure. They can definitely push for a play in.
Yeah, no, Sean?
I agree. He's a good fit for the Kings for sure.
Mhm.
Yep.
Hold on, my fault, Lexi. We'll let you. No, look, the soapbox is yours, bro. And then we'll move to Sean.
No, I don't need to be bragging no more. I know I talk enough shit as it is, so it's.
No, man, look, bro, we ain't had you on in a while. Like we missed you. I know that the schedules and everything. So it's
Yeah,
just
for
like, hey,
sure.
we got you on tonight. Let's definitely let you rock.
Yeah, I mean, I just like, and I can see the comments, that people say he's not exciting and stuff, but I just think he's gonna be that hard-working player. He was never gonna be flashy. He was never gonna be some, spotlight crazy player because he wasn't even in that at Iowa. Like he just was a hard worker and a good scorer. Like he's got a great shot. So if he can get even more spacing than he did at Iowa in the NBA, he'll be knocking down. Like I could see him. Being on that scoring list someday, I mean, maybe not super high or anything like that, but I think that he will be, so I believe in him.
He seems to be someone who really knows who he is as a basketball player. He never.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. That confidence was shocking.
Right.
The confidence was actually kind of shocking to me right off the bat. I thought he would struggle with that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that little chip on his shoulder, I guarantee, I feel like, probably seeing some of the stuff that was talked about him got him going. And hey, whatever it takes,
Yep. Man, hey, look, man, that's great. Hey, let me let King tell you. I was about to say that's great insight. There we go.
Right.
King.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Lex for that. Carl, what's good, bro?
What's good, y'all? How's it going?
My boy Carl. I was bowing earlier because my boy.
Yeah,
Carl
we got to make sure we do it proper,
and
man.
I had to let Lexi both stay on her soapbox. But I had to give my boy Carl his due at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got time.
So, Carl, super glad you're here, my man.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's
Yes,
always
sir,
great
bro.
to be here.
Always.
Yes,
The
sir.
contributions you make to the community, to Woodward Pistons, to sport, always, man. You got to sit at this table all the time, man.
So that's out.
Definitely. And Sean.
Yes.
Get on that Chet Holmgren soapbox, bro, so we can get to these Pistons. Man.
Oh, yes. Oh, hold on. Let me clear my throat.
Clear my throat.
Right. You good?
Sean wasn't even ready for Sean.
Yeah. He definitely hasn't practiced this, by the way.
Oh, my Lord. Let me tell you, man. I had to log on.
Settle down, child.
I had to log on to this little birdie app and on YouTube for weeks and for months. Telling you
on what app again? The Birdie app?
Yeah, pulling up that birdie app and letting y'all know and chirping myself to warn you that Chet Holmgren was special, right? I took every chance I could and even sat there on table talks, on podcasts, in forums, in Twitter mentions, being told how this guy was a little freaking little piece of grass that was going to blow into the wind, that didn't know how to play basketball, and that was just going to be the next bust, and that was an absolute bum and didn't know how to play basketball. People made it sound like he couldn't chew his food and walk at the same time. And now, after one summer league game, literally his first game in Salt Lake City, not only did people I know that told me I was wrong completely do a 180 on Chet, I had people that I knew that were against him that put money that he'd win Rookie of the Year this year. So I just want to say to all the people out there that might have just watched Chet Holmgren for the first time, because I'm going to tell you all, it's not even a theory. It's just fact. The people that made those concerns and everyone talking about Chet never watched him play basketball. And it was obvious because once they did, they figured it out. So I want to say to all the people, keep that same mother energy when Chet Holmgren is a multi-time All-Star. Keep that same energy, please. And thank you.
Yeah, that was pretty good. How many times did you play that over in your head, Sean?
Oh God, that's been in my head for like.
He's
Excelsior.
So I didn't even
Right.
Oh, it's been in my that felt so good because it was like, I even remember on the draft lottery show.
Oh, you
I
caught
was
like
the-
a lot of heat.
Hey, I
was
think
the
we found Sean's burner.
brother.
Oh,
Calm
Lord.
down. Whoa.
Yeah,
no,
Breaks, baby.
no,
Carry
no.
away. Come on now. Come on, man.
No, we're
This
not
is
going
hot
that far.
take central today, okay?
Is that Chuck
Listen,
Brewer?
man, we're not going that far.
Is that Chuck Brewer?
That's not
here's what I will
even
say.
Chuck Brewer won't even go that low, man.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, you're probably right.
He wouldn't stoop that low.
Yeah. Now here's what I will say. Someone asked, "Are you willing to say Chet should have gone at number 1?" Now here's the interesting thing. I actually think, just like how both the Kings and the Pistons are happy with getting Keegan Murray and Jaden Ivey, I think the Magic and the Thunder are both thrilled with who they got. Because I think at the end of the day, both of those guys ended up in the best situations that they could have. For Paulo, you have the opportunity to go prove that you could be a number 1 guy. You're ready to go play NBA basketball right now and be a bucket day 1, so you can go and help carry a franchise and put them in a position to succeed. And then
Help
for Chet,
carry the Orlando Wolverines.
Oh my
Right.
gosh, dog. Yeah, everybody. I saw
Chock
Xavier.
full of
Have my
musical
obligatory GoBlue in there, okay?
yeah, the Orlando Wolverines, exactly. But in addition,
Jeez.
for Chet to be able to go to a team with so many skilled playmakers and so many skilled ball carriers and a team that needed a defensive anchor, and that can be Chet's number 1 focus. Because even though Chet's great on the offensive end, what I love about Chet starts at the defensive end. I think it's just an absolute slam dunk for them.
I think he's going to be probably end up being better on defense ever than he will on offense.
That's
And then I think that's kind of where his size almost plays in too, because it's like he's small, I can get like through. I bet you it's going to like end up like helping him in the long run with like the defense and blocking and getting in between people and stuff like that with this long span.
And it's crazy, man.
He's going to be what Kristaps was supposed to be, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And it's crazy because literally you've been watching the entire summer league. So many people have been trying to go at Chet at the basket. And how many people have failed? Like, and like,
I hate going up against that. I'd be like, screw it.
Well, and here's the other piece of it too. People talk about his size. People talk about when he got pushed around by Kenny Lofton. Like, obviously those things are going to be there, right? But like the thing is you see him still go and get at the rim. And even through like 3 games of summer league action, this guy had 12 blocks. Like what else do you need to know? This guy's an elite rim protector. He had 12 blocks in 3 games. In one of them, he had 6.
Yeah,
he broke the summer league record for blocks.
Oh, that one got
This
turned over too
situational for him,
because
you
of
know?
the like offensive interference. I was like, yeah, no, that was definitely a block.
yeah.
I think a lot of people
That was wild. Like, you see how high his hand got?
Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimated his length. Obviously, all these prospects have a lot that they have to still build upon. And it is summer league, but Chet went out there and proved a lot of people wrong, in my opinion.
I think a lot of people look at Chet's body and look at the reasons why to be concerned. But in reality, I think there's a lot of ways to look at Chet's body and have reasons to be scared. Because if you look at how he can grow, like if he can bulk out,
oh God,
like if he can add muscle and
or
then
just get stronger, right?
Yeah, just get stronger. Maybe even just like a little bit more muscle. You don't need like to bulk up, but if he did, that would be scary.
Then the guy can. But then we even saw like if you compare Jabari and Chet's game, I would say, and I even thought this before the draft. I think Chet's more NBA ready right now than Jabari is in the offensive end. I think Chet's more ready on that end. Like,
we got to see NBA strength. That's the thing. We got to see NBA strength. There are some plays that do make me just want to wait until we see what the regular season is for Chet. Just because there were some plays where he could not back people down in the paint at all.
Right.
And he could not stop people from backing them down.
The difference too is that Jabari didn't have the playmakers around him either. So he didn't look good offensively though.
But the other thing though, the other difference though is that Chet has the ability day 1 to also take the ball up the court. And we even saw him do that and initiate offense for Oklahoma City a little bit as well. And that ability to play make from the perimeter has always kind of been a part of Chet's games. Like I think for him, at the very least, he's going to be able to have remnants of being able to do that day 1 in the NBA. I'm not saying he's going to be this like great offensive player. It's just on Jabari's side. And again, you don't want to overreact either way because I agree with you. Like, I actually think Jabari going to 3 was the worst case scenario for Jabari.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was a good fit for him.
Yeah.
And I think, I talked about before the draft, I was worried if he could handle the ball, and he's got to develop that. And I think we saw that in full display in the first couple games of summer league. And I think people got scared, but I mean,
we always
he's still going to be a great player.
I think it depends on role and fit,
Yeah.
what you have to do. But no, finish your point, Deuce.
I was just gonna say we always talk about it. What are you doing when your shot's not falling?
Mhm.
And I think that's really where Chet can really be effective because he can do a little bit of everything. If the shot's not falling, he's gonna help you defensively. He can switch out. He can play make. He can do different things. So I think he's always going to be able to find a way to be successful while he's on the floor.
Potentially.
Yeah. Also, Florida, Chet's not playmaking. He literally does. You're wrong. He has a guard-like ball handle. He can pass. Did you watch the tournament? Did you watch Gonzaga's system? How they would run him out? They would run him up high at the post and allow their other bigs to actually get easy looks at the rim? Clearly not.
Yeah, Chet's offense is what made him very, very intriguing. Not that people didn't recognize his ability on defense, but his offense was tantalizing. That was the unicorn-like potential.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And that, like,
he's
one
not
his, like, baseline
in
5 steps, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing there with Chet. And it's going to be interesting to see how all these guys go. Me, personally, I'm still really glad that we got Jaden Ivey based on where we were sitting.
Yep.
I really am. Just the potential there, the elite ability to create space. People say, oh, he's going to be elite in the NBA spacing. And I kept thinking, yeah, he's going to be elite in NBA spacing, but he showed, like, even in the summer league, his ability to get through the smallest window and then all of a sudden just be wide open. One of those plays, I saw somebody doing a review of Jaden Ivey's game, summer league. I could tell they didn't watch the game because they just saw the highlights. So, look at him in transition. I said, that wasn't transition. They were just bringing the ball up the court off of a made basket of the other team. This was just Jaden Ivey legitimately getting the ball from the other team's three-point line, dribbling it twice, and making a layup. Those are the things that we used to see from, some of the more premium athletic and speed type guys in NBA. And that's the thing that just excites me. I said on the Woodward Pistons podcast, coming into his rookie year, Donovan Mitchell, what we saw out of him his rookie year was not what we saw in college. And a lot of Michigan fans, they know Donovan Mitchell. We are very familiar with that guy. In college, I am not a fan of him. Skip him. In the NBA, though, man, that's who I wanted the Pistons to pick. And
for sure.
Like his skill set, people like him, people like John Morant, I even brought this up. I told people I believe that John Morant was going to have a better time in the NBA because of the way it caters to guards that play like him. If you have the athleticism, that quick burst, that first step where it doesn't matter. Like people tried to come over to double team Jaden Ivey. He just runs in between. Yeah. He'll just run the other way, and he's just faster than you. And when he takes off
when
of
was
one
the last
leg,
time?
bro, he's there. That's exciting to me. I can't wait to see what Fire and Ice is going to look like with K and Ivy, but
I know.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
also, real quick.
Go ahead, Sean.
Real quick. Hey, Florida, quit bitching in the comments that we're talking about. Chet, you actual bitch. Anyway, go ahead.
I just wanted to talk about, I wanted people to really focus on his playmaking ability because everybody saw Purdue that he was a high volume scorer. That's what he needed to do for their team because they had no one else who could do that. Yep. But now you're seeing there were so many dimes he dropped in transition and then out of pick and roll as well to open guys, hit him in the corner, hit the top of the key. They didn't knock him down, so it wasn't a highlight. But his vision and his ability to play make for others is very underrated. And now we're starting to see it because we have other guys around who are just as talented who can make those shots. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, like you said, Kool-Aid, the Fire and Ice, the combination of the two of them together being able to play make because now they're unpredictable on offense. Who's going to be the one to make the play make? Who's going to make So it's going to be really exciting to see how it plays out. I can't wait for the next
year.
And
absolutely.
They run that extreme 3-guard set. That's what they want to run, actually. And they've been trying to run it with 2 guards and like a point forward. They've done it with Blake. They try and do it sometimes with Sadiq Bay. But if Killian, who's going to be the person we probably start talking about now, Killian is probably the, I wouldn't say the most important person off the bench for the Pistons, but I believe as it relates to the system that the Pistons run, the 3-guard rotation, the ability to bring in someone like Killian and if you wanted to slide Cade and freaking Ivy to the wings, that sounds juicy. But whatever, man, like that type of stuff is awesome. But this stuff, it depends on Killian for this year. Do I believe that Troy can go out there and find his 3rd guard? Of course I do. Of course I do. But would he rather do it with extreme cap flexibility and a player that's kind of homegrown, knows these other guys and all of that? Yeah, I think he would. You know, which with you know, Killian, we don't want to overreact to Summer League and all that. I stated I believe that the Pistons saw what they needed to see out of him, though we as fans, we as people looking for that next step, we didn't necessarily see the aggressiveness on offense or defense that we wanted to see, man. But with Killian, I look, are we overreacting, underreacting, overwhelmed, underwhelmed by Killian Hayes, his Summer League? We see the workout tapes, and everybody says before Summer League, yo, I can't wait to see him do this or do that. You know, but as it relates to Killian, man, like what are you guys feeling?
Well, I think MK hit it on the head. He said Killian's getting traded with Kelly O, so Corey Joseph could get some more minutes.
How you feel about that, King?
Wait, I missed that one. Who said that?
MK.
MK been on one tonight, dog.
Is MK the new Chuck?
Right.
Killian crawled so that Kojo could soar. No, I mean, listen, man. The thing about Killian's playmaking is that if he does have that ability to be out on the court and be that maestro and allow guys like Cade and for Jaden Ivey to get in the open court, to have spacing, to play off the ball, you know, to make opportunities for themselves. I mean, there's so much to Killian's game that is positive, and the prospects of a 3-guard system like that would be great.
I don't know what kind of clubs you go to, buddy.
What?
Yeah. If you're feeling an icy hot sensation, you got to call your doctor, brother. That's But anyway, in all seriousness, like, you know, and again, like, you know, like you talk about and you kind of hint at that, like that kind of sense that the fan base is at with Killian right now, because I think after the first game of Summer League, I think there's more, I would say there's more of a community-wide apprehension with Killian right now, I would say. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think,
For sure.
you know, ultimately, if he can develop that shot, if he can become, because again, it's the point of he's never going to be a scorer. Like, you know, it's like we can accept that he's never going to be a scorer. He's just not. But again, we've talked about before, if he can at least just get to the point where you have to respect him on the court at all times, where you can't just leave him wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that he will make you pay if you leave him open.
Yep.
At that point, Killian can bring a lot of other great things to the table without being a liability on that side of the court. And if that's the case, that's an awesome 3-guard lineup.
Yeah, and if he can't get that 3 to be consistent, then Killian has to be able to do the things well or consistently enough that we know he does well. And that's the thing. It's like we see spurts where that 3 is not really falling, but because he's in a rhythm and he's mad now and he's confident and he wants to be going to the rack on Trae Young, he wants to be trying to boss up on De'Aaron Fox, then we see that step back 3, that side step 3 hit. And people who play ball, even on 2K, man, it's the rhythm shots matter. When you're in a flow, when you're in a rhythm as a hooper on any court, including the Nerf rim, bro, it matters. And with Killian, he's a guy who, when you see him get confident, you see him as we have no complaints about confident Killian. Who says, oh, I want to see confident Killian shoot more? Because that dude shoots and he makes it. We talk about his off-ball shooting and things of that nature and his catch and shoot situations from the corner. That guy is pretty decent. And I know that, I see people saying, hey, give him more time, give him more time, give him more time. The problem with that is this, guys. You got to make a decision on his contract, man. There's a tender that has to be given to him. I want to give him as much time as possible because I wanted Killian here over any other prospect. I was arguing with people about Halliburton versus Killian and all this other stuff. But when you got to make a business decision and you have a GM like Troy Weaver who can literally say, well, Jaden Ivey this year, sorry, Killian, you know, get your stuff together and let's see if you can come back next year and be 6th or compete. You don't have time to waste. We sit here saying we tired of the last 12, 13, 14, 15 years of Pistons basketball. I'm ready to see what this restoration can be about. We said we don't want to see this team rebuild forever. And I believe that what Troy is doing right now is putting Killian in a position to go out there and succeed, man. There's no room in this year for Killian to not be confident Killian.
I mean, he's giving him everything he needs to succeed. Like you said, it's kind of reminiscent to like it's kind of similar to like you said, like in a completely different scale, Jared Goff, right? Like Jared Goff is kind of like he's going to prove it year in a different way, obviously way more money. And it's like hey, we're paying a ton of money on this offense. No excuses anymore. You got to go out there and produce. And I think with Killian, it's kind of like hey, you're in year 3. This team's way more talented than it was when you joined.
Right.
You have way more experience now than you did. You have improved your game and have a bigger body and have the tools that you need in order to be a good NBA player. And we got confirmation from Rod and from other beat writers earlier that it appears that Killian's gone back and is with the national team in France this summer. So with that, I think there's like a lot of things there where, it's clear like Killian is putting himself in a lot of position to work on his game and could come into a space where he can really thrive this season. But again, who's the person in control of Killian Hayes' destiny and all these things? It's Killian, because because it almost feels like every time I watch Killian play a game of basketball, it feels like he can have as much of an impact as he wants to have. Right?
I'm about to get on my soapbox for King coming to football season.
Shout out
I'm
King.
coming for all of you.
That's gonna be fun to watch.
I'm excited for them, man.
Everyone, you better hope. Y'all better pray that Jared Goff isn't good, and that's coming from me because I have receipts upon receipts about everyone in this fan base.
Let's go,
bro. Let's go. Hey, she's got receipts.
Let's go.
She's got receipts for every sport.
I got a whole
Murray,
documented thing
Goff.
separate of Jared Goff alone because I'm coming.
Yeah, and with this statement, I just want to let people know with Killian, we definitely not doubting him. I'm still holding out hope that Killian can be something great. Yeah. But to readjust the expectations, we have to, because this is the reality. Troy Weaver sits down and he doesn't look at the necessarily just what Killian can be, because we saw how quickly he said, "Hey, Bruce Brown, Luke Kennard, I love you. Good job. Thanks for what you've done here. I think you have a bright future ahead of you. Bye-bye. You're not fitting into this window, this plan right now." And that's what Troy has to do, because Killian in 2023, 2024 as a team option for almost $7.5 million. And then in 2024, 2025, $10 million. To put that in perspective, Kelly O is the highest paid player on the team right now at $12 million. That's a decent amount of money for the team that you're putting together. And he's going to be getting his money, his escalations are going to be going up higher than Cade's at a year before Cade's. So these are things to think about when you're talking about fielding a team and getting that third guard that is going to fit nicely in this rotation, bring you the offense that you need, give you a little bit of shooting. And honestly, the one thing that I have to agree with Rod on, because I said in Summer League, I thought Killian did what he was supposed to do. But no matter what court you're on, I'm going to repeat this. Every hooper man, you got to play your defense. And I didn't see Killian look like the defender that we know him to be. And so these are just things that when we going into Summer League, we said, I don't care if he go 1 for 7 from 3. If he looks like he belongs and he's doing the things that he's supposed to do, hey, then we're good to go. As it relates to, and King said it best. Let me put that up there. King did say it best. He's probably our best perimeter defender,
no question,
and
our
best passer by far, definitely.
My one thing, even though it is only Summer League, I would just say as it's concerning that Killian can disappear on that type of court too, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like because it's kind of like even like Rod said, but like he brought up that varsity to JV comparison. Yep. This is, for all intents and purposes, playing against junior varsity. And when you slip into the background like that, even in that type of atmosphere, that's where the concern, that's where my concern kind of was. But can I bring up real quick? Can I just mention one quick thing, Kool-Aid? Because he said that we're doubting him just like we doubted Isaiah Stewart. Kool-Aid, I know you and myself have been pretty adamant and positive and patient with Isaiah Stewart and knew that he was probably going to be involved in whatever is going on here. Is it just me? Or all of a sudden after Summer League, have you noticed that there's a lot more people that have always been Isaiah Stewart supporters?
Yeah, it matters that Isaiah Stewart hits the threes in Summer League, you know what I'm saying? But and we can get excited about it. Obviously, this is something that we say, hey, we're here to overreact, we're here to underreact, we're here to be overwhelmed or underwhelmed by these players, and we got to talk about it. We have to talk about it. He stepped out on the court. He was paid to play that game. And I know what people want to say, don't take too much out of Summer League. We're not taking too much out of Summer League. We're taking the fact that you got to talk about what the guy put out there on tape, man. This is your name. Well, I go out on the court, man. Me and King in here talking about we don't want this work. He like, yo, you don't want this work on a playground, on a court. I don't want, hey, bro, y'all don't want this work. Come see me at the freaking East Sport up on Mile Road, straight up. This man was at a freaking Summer League game. You could go Summer League all day long. He got paid, bro. Any of us in that same position will go out there and strap the F up. And that's the reality. The other guys on the court, strap the F up, man. Don't look weaker than the guys out there. That's my problem, dog. That's my problem. I hope you don't got a kid out there, Killian. It's too soft. And I'm just being for real, man. Quit with all this. Oh, he can just be off the bench. He was drafted 7th, y'all.
Yeah. And also, here's the other thing.
Like, come on, what are we talking about? Like, where's expectations?
Also, I just want to see him play a full season. Everyone's talking about what
freaking decent from Killian Hayes, dog.
Also,
I don't want that. I want him to go out there and play the way that Troy said he's supposed to play. I want him to go out there and play the way we know he can play. Like,
can we stop as Pistons fans choosing which prospects can and can't be criticized? Because Isaiah Stewart, if he made a little mistake last year, or Jeremy Grant made it as much as one turnover, his ass needed to be shipped to China. But if Killian Hayes, Luke Kennard, Sekou Doumbouya, if they go out there and they have a half season of mediocrity, oh, don't worry. Tomorrow he's going to show it. Don't worry. Tomorrow he's going to show it. And if you're giving up on him, you haven't watched him play like I have. Okay, he's gonna be fine. I promise.
It's not about giving up on him. Look. Did Troy give up on Bruce Brown and Luke Kennard, or did he just say, "Look, guys, it's time to move in a different direction"? And that's okay to do. We're not saying Killian sucks. I'm just saying I don't know how much I'm okay with just 10, 5, and 5. Sometimes his defense is there when he's on point. Sometimes he's going through these spurts, and I'm fine with letting the boy figure it out. That's what this year is about. But guys, there's a team option at the end of next season. Are you paying him the $7.5 million?
It depends on how the season goes. It really depends on if he takes that next step this season. If
then the qualifying, and what's the cap hold? What's the cap hold on that? 22.5 mil?
I think it's 23
million. That's what I'm saying. Look, guys, we're not sitting here talking about Killian the prospect. If we had all day to stash him or to develop him and all of this, bro, take that time and do that. But when you got a player that you have to legitimately make a business decision on, and Troy could potentially flip Killian for another draft pick, what are we doing? What are we talking about here? He's going to get his time. He's going to play this year. And we're going to see him be like, you know what? What is 7.5 mil is due in October? Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about, man. This stuff matters, man. So it's like we're making decisions here on a team, not on just one player. We're not talking about Killian the player necessarily. It's not just that. It's who he is, what he's showing to be, where he'll be in his arc. When you got to pay this man, are you ready to pay a guy to continue to develop?
Right.
He wasn't drafted in the second round where we can just slip him this little contract and he can just take his time to develop until we're like, oh, cool. That's not even the Detroit way. That's not what we do here.
Both things can be true, that you can like a player for what he brings to the court, for who he can be and grow into. And you can also acknowledge that you expect more of him. And that you might not be all the way impressed with everything you've seen. We can say that there's a lot of things that Killian brings on both ends of the court that we really like. But in that, we also can acknowledge that he has terrible statistics offensively, both one of the least efficient offensive players, one of the lower volume offensive players. And when you have that mix, even with all the other things, you could literally be a mini Ben Wallace, go out and be a defensive player of the year caliber player. But if you're as a guard supposed to be someone that can space the floor and like provides like something if need be, like, guys, I'm sorry, like I love Killian, but like you have to acknowledge his shortcomings. You just do.
Yeah, this is definitely a prove a year. I mean, you got two guys in Sadiq Bay and Isaiah Stewart who were drafted way lower than him, and they have severely outplayed him through the duration of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't just gloss over it as if it's
bro. Hold on. And from a basketball standpoint, I don't even mean to cut you off, Deuce. They haven't just outplayed him. They have added on to their games in extreme ways. Sadiq Bay is not the same player in college. Isaiah Stewart is not the same player he was in college. Right. Killian Hayes is trying to be the player he was in France, and he can't do it. That's the problem. Come over here, show us this. Bro, at least go out there and get you a hefty, 12-6-6. But we all know, hey, let's get him in here.
Okay, but listen, comments like these are excuses, man. I'm sorry, but they're excuses. What
did I say?
I definitely chose violence today.
Let's go.
I heard two things that are absolutely out of line. First of all, we're sitting here talking about Summer League. Isaiah Stewart did not look great besides the few 3-pointers that he shot in Summer League. You know why?
The thing I was going to bring up other than that is that this is beyond Summer League. We saw Isaiah Stewart doing this down the stretch of the season. He was 11 of 18 to end the season beyond the arc. So this isn't just something that's just Summer League.
Okay.
He did it in the NBA.
Okay, I get it. Sure. You can have that. That has nothing to do with the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is Isaiah Stewart had an assignment during the Summer League, and he carried out that assignment. There's no way in the world that the Pistons are telling Killian Hayes to go out there and go for broke in a Summer League for 22 minutes. We talking about 22 minutes in the Summer League, and we just forgot about the last quarter of the goddamn season last season. He had his Summer League the last quarter of his season last season. They're more concerned about training camp, about him really working out with NBA talent over the summer and really working out with his teammates. No one's trying to go out there and beat up on a bunch of kids. You got motherfucking Buddy and McGusty on your goddamn team.
Doing better than Killian.
No. Sure.
Look, King, bro, I hear what you're trying to say, but nobody is judging him on Summer League.
That's the thing.
It's not about Summer League.
You're not
about Summer League. It's about the fact that he went there and didn't even look like he was at Summer League. That's not my fault. That's Killian Hayes' fault, bro. Go play basketball. The reason why he's the one we can talk about is because all we can talk about with Killian is a second half run where he wasn't even worthy of the third guard spot for the team we're talking about being a winner. I don't got no time with him to develop, bro. Take your time.
First of all, listen. Nobody on this team right now, nobody on this team at the stage there is a star. None of them are. They all have a lot to fucking work on.
Ashton's in the comments. He's got a question for us. What up, Ashton? Let's stop this in our breaks.
So here's the thing. What I'm saying is we sitting up here having a discussion about a fucking Summer League game where Samuel Lee refused to pass the motherfucking basketball the entire game to his whole goddamn team.
You're right.
Period.
No, that's true.
So it's just bro, can we at least let him go through his progressions this summer? Let him do what he got to do, and then when we get to those preseasons and things like that, there's the judgment. This is judgment here for Killian Hayes.
That's exactly what we're saying. Listen, that's exactly what we're saying, and we're saying that because the last 2 seasons we haven't seen much progress.
Well, shit, you haven't seen him. You only seen him 20-something games.
That's a part of the whole thing. We haven't seen him because he gets touched on the wrist. He's hurt. He gets touched on the pinky. He's hurt.
And then I'm not done.
He's hurt.
I'm not done.
I'm not done. That's not our fault. I'm not apologizing for talking about what Killian has put on tape. I'm not apologizing for that.
The fans can feel however they want. Troy Weaver is not nowhere on the same timeline as this fan base. I'm sorry, he's not.
We all know that. We've all said that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Killian Hayes and what he's put on tape. What is his record? And we got to all talk about Killian Hayes. He went out there, played a game. We don't know what the Pistons were trying to look at. We don't know what he was trying to work on. We didn't see.
I think we can all agree. We can all agree.
I put on wax this. I think he's going to be a decent backup point guard in this league. So if we want to talk about what I believe versus what we're talking about as it relates to what he's put on tape and what we have to be able to dissect as it relates to Killian, because I'm telling you, bro, we've seen these decisions being made. Why did they make this decision with guys like Bruce Brown and Luke Kennard? Luke Kennard was not drafted second round or anything. Why did he come in to make? I get it. They were not his guys coming in.
I was about to say, that's Troy. Them ain't Troy guys.
They weren't. Hey, look, he kicked the tires on Sekou. He could have done certain things, but he instantly went out there and saw. Even if I know I can do something with these guys, even if I know I can do something with these players, there's a different player out here who's better, who's fitting in a different slot, who's cheaper, who's younger, who's probably fitting a little bit more in line with what we want to do. And Troy has continued to make those side little, pick this up, let that guy go. Even intermediary, he picked up a guy, everybody got excited about Jalen Hands, and then immediately signed somebody else and waived Jalen Hands, stretched him. These are the types of things that we see Troy doing. So it's like, look, with Killian, I'm talking more on the fact that there are decisions that have to be made and what we want to see out of him coming up.
Yeah, that's all we're saying,
man. Showing certain things this year.
At this point, I'm not even concerned about $7 million. What is that to us right now?
It's not about if you're concerned about it, man. It's about how do you field and put together a team that can also compete. During the times that we have guys like Cade and Sadiq and these guys here. I don't want to sit here and we're just looking like kind of a middling team after 3 or 4 years because we're hoping Killian and some of these other guys pan out. I want you to go out there.
I don't want to cut y'all off. But C2 is watching and they're rolling right now. I just want to point that out. Cade is watching right now and they're rolling right now. So y'all continue.
Listen.
Now that I know that Cade's tuned in, hey, what's up, Cade? Sean Murphy, pleasure to meet you. What's going on, man? Anyway,
hey, Ashton, I want to love you.
Listen, I'm just trying to.
No, but listen, bro, here's the thing. At the end of the day, Cade, can I say something?
It irritates my soul, man, with this thing with Killian Hayes, bro. Like he just has to go out. He is not a scorer. He never was a scorer.
I said that. I said that.
Not that.
Did I say that? Yes or no?
He's your starting point guard off the bench right now. Why is there such a debate about Killian Hayes, bro?
Yes, it's not a debate about Killian Hayes. We're not necessarily debating. I believe that when we get on here and we talk about these players, especially Killian, he's going to be a hot topic button. He's going to be a player that we have questions about him before Summer League. Even though we kind of like what he put on film towards the second half of the season, it still wasn't enough. Look, I'm hoping that Killian comes out. And
it wasn't enough for who, Kool-Aid?
For Killian, for Troy, for everybody else. This man played Summer League.
How are you speaking for Troy?
Because the man played Summer League.
Kool-Aid.
Hey, look, I'll let you know what Rob Deere said. I'll let you know what Rob Deere said. Who was there? I'll let you know what Rob Deere said. Who was there?
Us spoiled ass fans right now. It's not enough for us.
Go ahead, Kool-Aid.
Because if it wasn't enough, I'm probably sure then Troy easily could have packaged him up and moved
as you go along, brother. That's all we're talking about. And you got to be able to assess as you go along. I'm not leaving none of mine unchecked. That's how you get ran. I'm not doing that, bro.
That's true.
Look, you got to know exactly who you got on your team because I'm not. Look, C2, you on? Bro, I'm not trying to wait forever to win with you. I'm not trying to have you have to make
decisions about what we're doing here and doing there. Year 2 of a rebuild.
Hold on. King. Hold on.
Hayes was the number 7 draft pick in Troy Weaver's first draft.
The number 7 draft pick in the NBA is like fucking number 22 in the NFL draft.
Why are people still crying and moaning about the pick then? If we're not talking about Killian Hayes the player, you know what everybody else is talking about? If we're not talking about Killian Hayes the player, everybody else is talking about the fact that we passed over this player, that player, this player. Why
you can do that with every draft? You can do that with every draft. It is literally a crapshoot in the top 10.
That's why I like the way Troy does things, bro. We can do that with all the drafts of the Pistons for like the last 15 years to the point that our best player was Andre Drummond. I'm no longer crying about those players. I did that already. And Killian Hayes is that type of player until he proves otherwise. I don't have to sit here and say he's going to be something that he's not. Cade came in, and I can say he's going to be something that he's putting on tape. Sadiq Bay is going to be something. We can talk about those players. They've done what they need to do. With Killian, all I'm saying is do it because what you've done so far is not it.
And this is my thing, though. This is what you're not understanding. With Killian Hayes, he needs to do it. It's literally one fucking thing. It's literally one fucking thing.
But that one thing he just so happens to be one of the worst in the entire game at. That's the problem.
This
is my problem.
Hold on, wait a minute. I didn't even get a chance to this ludicrous you were speaking early with Chet Holmgren.
What?
Chet Holmgren got his ass beat by Cream Biggums out there.
He had one game where he was pushed around by a player who is one of the stronger post players in the entire game of
In the
college
NBA,
basketball. And on top of that,
starters
went
in the
out
NBA
through the
are-
rest of summer league and looked like he was a freaking man amongst boys. What
Oh,
in the
God.
actual hell
Oh,
are you
my
talking
God.
about, King?
Oh,
I'm
my
on
God.
something about Chet.
This man has to play against NBA starters. They are going to fucking destroy him. They're
People
going to
literally
Killian
see
won't
all
get
these
destroyed,
guys
though.
think that they could go out
You don't
and
have to put him
destroy
at.
him,
You don't
and
have to
just
put him at
because of his
center.
body.
They're going to switch and abuse Chet until his ass eats some cheeseburgers.
Hey, King, I have a
talking about
question. How many
summer
blocks
league.
through 3 games did Chet Holmgren have?
I'm dead. I'm
Question.
officially
You
dead.
know how many blocks he had through 3 games? With all these guys
I'm
going after him,
officially dead.
trying to expose him during summer league, as he goes through each level where he's supposed to be exposed, and then goes out and looks like one of the best players on that court. Is there a coincidence?
Listen. Name those guys and where they came from.
Listen.
You don't even know
Listen.
these fucking guys.
75. Listen, I will acknowledge it. 75% of players that play in summer league never play on an NBA roster. Okay, that is fact. But what
But
you
he's
can't
considered
say
a piece
is
of a franchise, right? He's
But
going
it-
to be a starter, right? So those starters are going to put starter dick in his ass. That's what's going to happen. A whole lot of it.
So summer league
King,
matter for Chet.
you
Not
can't-
fast.
but it
you
don't
He's
matter for
not
Killian.
fast. So all this dribbling and shit that you seeing, he's not quick. He's
you are
not.
literally going, okay, if you want to keep saying after watching everything that you still think Chet Holmgren is not going to be able to play on the NBA level, I have nothing to
I
help
never
you
said
with,
he
man.
couldn't play.
King, I love you.
No, I
but
never
you
said he
lost.
was.
I
I
don't know
didn't
how
say
to
he
help
couldn't
you.
play. You was endorsing him like this motherfucker was like the next piece of sliced bread out here.
Well, no,
And
what I was saying was
he
people
out
told
there
me he
playing
couldn't play
against
basketball, and I'm
Smoke
telling you
somebody
this guy
else.
could play
Like, bro,
basketball.
No, Sean, he can play basketball, but we have to remember Henry Ellenson could play basketball in summer league too. But the intangibles
Okay,
are there
come
with Chet.
on.
I will give
Henry
you that.
Ellenson,
I'm not
as
gonna
much
say
as I make
Henry Ellenson,
jokes
no.
about
Come on,
Henry
man.
No, we're not
Ellenson,
saying he's Henry Ellenson. We point out the scope
I understand
of
what
the
he's
summer
saying. No, I understand.
Yeah,
what
I'm
he's
not
saying.
saying he's Henry
you're right.
Ellenson.
You're
I'm
supposed
just
to
saying.
show it out on
let's
the
be
NBA
honest.
level.
But let's
But
be
like
honest,
I'm
there's levels
saying
to
is
it. There's levels to it
blasphemy
now.
when I'm
Come
just saying he objectively played well. That's
Yeah.
just what happened.
He gonna
I'm
have to show
telling
me-
you what happened.
Brett is going to have to show me against grown men because that one grown man he met.
Keep moving the goalposts, King. Keep moving them. Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll keep moving it back. Which
Okay.
day on the
I just
calendar you
wanna
want to
see
put
him
them on?
against some
We
grown
can keep
men.
rescheduling if you'd like, King.
From actual people.
All
We
I'm
can
saying
keep
is, bro,
rescheduling if
you
you'd
just
like.
told me
He
that
was out there
Chet
playing
got
against
bowled over
Syracuse.
in
I
summer
need to see him
league.
against some
That's
people.
what you told me. That's what you just told me. That
Goalpost.
Chet got bowled over in summer league. That's what you
Goalpost.
just said, King.
Yeah, he
And we just
did.
saw Killian go
What
out
you think
there and
gonna
look
happen in
what?
the league?
Oh, so Kool-Aid, you're saying how much time are we really gonna give?
For me, I'm not saying
Yeah.
anything about don't give up on Killian. What I'm saying is it's a biz freaking bro. And sometimes you got to make decisions that are difficult. And guess what? Killian Hayes is not a difficult decision. The fact that this riled up what it did is it's exactly speaking to my point, bro. Like, why is it this much? Because he's not what he's supposed to be. That's the point of it. And we're going into year 3.
That's fair.
Everyone's going to give Killian his year 3 time. Nobody's saying that not to do that. Everyone's saying he's put enough on tape to deserve this opportunity. That's the reality. But if he doesn't do it, what are people doing in year 4? You get sitting here saying, "Oh, $10 million is not that much money."
Yeah.
Look, he's going from 4 to 5 to 7.5. We were just sitting here talking about some players making $8 million. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. And they were honestly doing things a little bit more than Killian was for this team. Realistically. That's the truth. So all we're talking about is what we want to see out of Killian moving forward. The fact that he has disappointed so far, that is the truth. He has not lived up to anything, man. He has not lived up to his seventh pick. He has not lived up to what we thought he could be. He has not beaten out the guys ahead of him in the NBA. We don't got to talk about summer league. We can talk about, well, he hasn't played. He hasn't this. He hasn't that. That's on him. And until he does it, there's nobody who can get on any soapbox about Killian Hayes. That's
So
the truth.
Ashton the trainer has a question in the chat
Yeah,
Let's
saying,
get him. Where's he at?
do you believe that Troy Weaver is done this offseason? And that is a great question. I personally will never believe that. With me, it's like it's one of those things where it's like it ain't over until the fat lady sings. Like Troy Weaver's like one of those guys to me that is always going to be on the phones at like any given hour of the day. And I think that right now, I would imagine if Troy Weaver was going to be doing anything, I think it would be getting in more veterans along the lines of a guy like an Alec Burks or like kind of like that Nerlens Noel, more mature guys and go out there and play with those guys. So I could certainly see a move. I could see, I don't know if we could maybe see like Kelly be moved before the season.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could potentially go get like a solid role player, someone who could shoot the three and help these guys. But I mean, listen, man, Ashton, Cade, I don't got to tell you guys, man, y'all got an exciting thing going on. I would not say no to adding some more firepower to this thing.
He was
That's for
probably
sure.
on the phones today after what happened with Ayton. I mean, he's probably, there's trades that we could facilitate. So I'm sure he's probably always on the phone, but
Yeah, if you guys remember, the two guys that the Pistons were debating between last year were Kelly O and Nerlens Noel. So now that we have Nerlens, what does that mean for Kelly O? So I think it's possible that he may be moved. I think it's possible. I can see it.
That was what I was going to say as well. With the log jams that we're kind of seeing with some of the players, and it's not like Kelly O is the type of veteran who's just trying to chill. Like the players they have on the team, they're not just the type that are not trying to play. They're just collecting the check. And so I could see Weaver doing something. I don't know how big or how small it could be, but definitely, man, I don't think Troy Weaver is ever done. I think he is the epitome of that Joe Dumars 2 phones. I just do. Maybe he got 2 phones and he got the Skype and the iMessage and everything going on, man, at the same time. But nah, man, he's not done. Where is he going? I don't know. I know Keith Smith put out an interesting tweet today where the Pistons still have the third most amount of cap space. They are significantly behind, who is it? The Spurs and the Pacers, I believe, at 10 million. The other 2 teams have, I think, 20 and 30 million, but I don't think the Spurs are really trying to be active players.
They're tanking.
Yeah.
The Pacers, they're going for Victor.
Yeah.
They saw that we got Cade and they want to replicate that.
Yeah.
Nah,
They can't replicate that, bro. That was it, man. That was the basketball guys getting us back from what they did to Zeke. The basketball guys getting us back for 2005 because the rest was not right. It just wasn't. Whoever slipped that message to Joe Dumars in that Darko draft, bro.
Yep.
We needed it. Like we really did. But nah, man, I don't think Troy Weaver is done. And that's the type of GM he is. He's not like, oh, cool. My team is finished, and he just goes and sits down. I appreciate the fact that for once, and I think the reason why I am a little bit more harsh or critical on Killian as it relates to, bro, go out there and do what you're supposed to do. I'm not saying go out there and get rid of him. I'm saying go out there and do what you're supposed to do because we have a GM who don't rest on his laurels anymore, bro. We've had GMs that rested on players like Killian, whether they did what they're supposed to do or not. Now we don't have a GM that we have to really, really worry about that. If he proves himself, he's going to. And even if it looks like he can be something, but it's not what Troy wants, I believe that Troy can go and flip Killian or whoever for whatever he needs.
Sounds like Marcus Smart all over to me.
Look, man, Marcus Smart.
I watched Celtics fans kill Marcus Smart for, 3 or 4 years at the beginning of his career?
They were talking about shooting. They wasn't talking about the things we talking about with Marcus Smart, man. We talking about his confidence. We talking about his up and down.
Marcus Smart.
We talking about his American style. We talking about he don't know how to play through contact. Marcus Smart didn't have those issues, bro. Marcus Smart was a dog. He just didn't have. He had skills that you had to work on as it relates like shooting. Like you can go in the gym with your coach. Killian needs to go into go out into like the West Alps, bro, and chill and realize I'm Killian effing Hayes, bro. Like understand that and then come back and play. I don't even believe that there is a basketball gym that he can go into and become a better player for this season coming up, more so than going and getting his head right and making sure he knows I'm 6'5". Why does he have to wait until De'Aaron Fox punches him in the nuts 5 times to realize, oh, he's too short to guard me. That's why he's only hitting me there. Then all of a sudden he wants to go and lay up. No, he would even go into the paint and just turn around and block. That's what I want to see.
Okay, guys, Zuka, you've been in here sucking dick since you've been in here. Listen, Marcus Smart comes from the fucking playground. He comes from the dog place over here. That's not where Killian comes from. I've said this over and over again. It's going to take him time because he doesn't come from the fucking hood like we do. There's a difference. He over there playing with motherfuckers talking about bonjour and drinking coffee.
It is, but I will say this.
Coffee.
I will say this. No, you're right, but I will say
fancy
this.
Coffee, King.
Some guys got it.
I love you.
Some guys develop it, and some guys never develop it. You know what I'm saying? Some guys were raised that way. Some guys weren't, and then they are able to develop it, and the other guys are never able to develop it. So it's yet to be seen with him what it's going to be. I hope he can be one of those guys that develops it. But it's yet to be seen, man. I just want to see it.
Yeah, but hey, what does anybody think Troy Weaver is going in a direction? Like the way that I see this team right now, obviously Killian's going to get that third guard option to prove what he is. It's his to take, man. It's like we talked about with Steph Curry in this finals, totally different situations, not comparing the players, comparing the fact that it's on you to go out there and get it. This last finals with Steph Curry is to win or lose. Honestly, this third guard rotation, this whatever you're going to be on the Pistons, this is for Killian in this third year to go out there and win or lose, man. I even stated I don't believe that the book is written on him as a starter or not. We're all sitting here arguing that we think he's going to be a good backup. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we really arguing? If we believe that Killian has the talent to really be that starter, to really be that deal, to really force this into a situation to where maybe, hey, look, we might have to play a 3-guard rotation to start the game because these guys are that deal. Killian's panned out to be what we want. Man, that's what I'm hoping this thing goes. And from that perspective, the only other things that I could see Troy Weaver really, really looking at is finding out what his front court is. What is it exactly? Yeah. Who's the fives? Who's the fours?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who is your rim protector? All that type of stuff. Can they switch out and play the perimeter on defense?
I just want to see Killian Hayes go out there and play with someone like Jalen Duran. You know, those Jalen Duran, Bagley type of guys. Like we out here, you know, Killian was out there playing with fucking Trey Lyles at center. You know,
and that's the thing. And I think that's kind of like what I kind of said that earlier of like it is kind of the thing of for him. And when I said that, like, obviously, like it's not the same thing at all to Jared Goff, but it's the thing of, you know, with Killian, I do want to see him go out there and kick ass and do that. And like you said, that last quarter of the season, King, I am in agreement with you. He showed improvement. He showed promise. He showed us those things. And I really do believe that he can go into this next season, show that growth and give us reason to be confident. But the thing is that we can also acknowledge that there have been moments of disappointment before. The summer league in the grand scheme of things doesn't mean anything. It literally means nothing. And I agree with you on that. But I mean, I can also, you know, maybe I put up expectations for myself that shouldn't have been there. But at the same time, I think it's just the thing of, all right, I just didn't see that thing from Killian Hayes that night. Now it's just the onus of we have to see him go out and have those types of performances this season. We just do. We have to see him show those nights and that consistent growth in that evolution in his game like we have seen from the other players on this team.
I love when people ask this question because Chauncey was still a mother freaking dog, bro. Chauncey was a dog. You have to understand. The issues with Chauncey was that at that time, when he was coming up, the NBA didn't have a place for guards like him who were these combo guards. They wanted Chauncey to be a strict point guard. He wasn't that. He was a scorer who could bust your motherfucking freaking tail. Yeah.
Also, please,
you got to understand that. You got to understand that. Like this is not the same situation. I believe that the closest arc that you can probably say for Killian is what King and others have said, and that's that kind of Marcus Smart. I
see Lonzo Ball. I think he could be a really solid. Like I love, and again, that's a player that could be really talented, and that's a guy that could be really solid. And he's not a bust. He's not all these things. He's not all this hyperbole. No. And I agree that the people that were dogging on him, getting on him too much for the summer league game was over the line. I just think again, for me with Killian, it's just always been that I think both can be true of you can like where he's going. You can like what you see. You can see promise, but at the same time, you can also have a feeling of being more to be desired and point out his shortcomings. That's okay. You can.
Yeah. And the other thing is the eras that we're in as well. And I see someone say I call him Rondo. You got to understand coming into the league and seeing what he could do. I was always saying, man, he kind of reminded me of like old Jason Kidd. People who grew up kind of watching that 04 team. You know, Jason Kidd, his offense was something that we were like, whatever, but he still made a heck of an impact. We were like, yo, when he steps on the court, you got to be worried about everything else he can do. The problem is, just like Andre Drummond 15 years ago would have been a heck of a center in this league, I feel like the NBA is passing up guards who cannot contribute consistently on the offense from the perimeter or be a playmaking athletic freak that's also bringing it on the defensive end. Can those guys find ways to fit? Yeah. Well, we literally saw Ricky Rubio go from, you know, one of those types of guys to just, you know, I know that age, time, and that stuff passes by, but that's kind of the fear, you know, is the game. If Killian is not someone who can hit that three consistently, play off ball well enough, and keep his confidence and his mental game up. You know, those are just the things that just concern or worry me. But I get it. It's Tom Rubio, but the game is just different. Like, think about it, guys. If we had Andre Drummond 15 years ago, it would have been the perfect pick. People always say that he was just drafted in the wrong era. You know, they were talking about the big news today was that Rasheed Wallace would dominate in today's era more so than he did when he was with us. That he was one of those unicorn type players that just was kind of out of era, you know. And so with Killian, man, we keep winding up at Killian, and I keep seeing people say he just turned 20. Yeah, he just turned 20, man. I'm hoping he works it out. I'm hoping he gets it. But
it's a prove a year.
Year for sure. Definitely
it just is. Yeah.
Shout out Greg Monroe. Let's get it.
Oh Lord. I also hope Killian can stay healthy.
But King is out.
That's the key, man.
Because he's a rhythm guy. He's a rhythm player.
Right. It
Once
sets
he's in
him
a
back.
rhythm, he's fine. Exactly.
Every time he comes back from injury, he's not the same as when he was
exactly.
Before.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But King, is that fair though? Like what I say is is that at least like fair? Like because it's again like I'm by no means am I like out on Killian at all. It's just like there's expectations. There just is. That's all there is.
No, yeah, you're entitled to have expectations. Fans always have expectations. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Once we, like I said, it's just still so early in this league right now. It really is. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, eventually, obviously, he's going to have to show some results on the offensive end. Let's just be real about that. But when I heard summer league things coming up, that's what triggered me. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, what?
So it worked.
If I fucking got on the roster of summer league right now, I probably could average about 5 points right now.
I mean, I was seeing that jump shot that you sent us earlier, King. That did look wet. If you worked with Killian on that jump shot, we wouldn't be having these conversations right now.
You'd be good.
Look, bro,
if you were in the lab with Killian, if you had your bucket getting ability, King, we'd be
That's
golden.
it there. Listen, Killian Hayes. Go work out with King. It's no longer don't leave the States. It's
he's not ready to work out for me.
Get in the lab with Ashton and King. You'll become an offensive god.
Ashton and King, God. Let's get it.
He be going to training camp in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But we got to think about it too. Like, we're sitting here talking about Troy's belief in Killian and the teams and what we want him to do. Hey, guys, and if you were Killian, dog, how are you feeling? You get moved to the bench and then they draft another backcourt mate. That's all I'm saying. We're not necessarily talking about summer league. We're talking about the moves Troy Weaver made. I didn't make that move. I didn't draft Jaden Ivey and move him to the bench.
That's fair.
I didn't say, you know what, your arc now is forever blocked. It's forever locked into this as a seventh pick. That's what I'm saying. We're not sitting here talking about, you know, is he going to be a good player? I still, like I told everybody else, I think Bruce Brown and Luke Kennard are going to be good players. But stop, like you got to think about this. Like, Troy's going out here getting players that we know he's seen on the circuit, man. And I'm glad that he picked Killian with that first pick, but then followed it up with what Deuce said earlier, the picks of Sadiq Bay and Isaiah Stewart. It doesn't show that he was antsy about the pick at all, because we know what Jaden Ivey, what they felt about Jaden Ivey, but he still went and said, hey, I got to get Duren too. So that's not an indictment on him. That's not an indictment on Killian. And to be fair, we're going to always put this disclaimer out there, man. They said that Killian is a project player who has not, to King's benefit, to what he said, really gotten the time. I don't know who's more at fault here, you know, because he's had some real weird injuries that's taken him out. But we cannot blame Killian for the pandemic. I won't do that yet.
No.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I know his other Frenchman, he gets blamed, Rudy Gobert, at the beginning of this thing, touching all the mics and being a clown with it. But yeah, man, look, I think Killian is somebody we actually all want to do good.
Absolutely.
That's at the end of the day, yeah.
For sure.
So
for sure. I was hyped when we got him.
Yeah. What do you guys think these lineups are going to look like?
That's the question.
You can do so much. You can do so many things, man. You can do a lot.
It's very versatile.
It's very flexible.
Hey, Ashton, you and Cade, you guys know the lineup. You can comment right down below, right? You can just let us know. We don't have to go through all this. No, I'm just kidding. But no, my prediction, Jeff and I actually did a video on From Half Court earlier this week talking about this, and our prediction for the lineup day one is Cade, Ivy, Sadiq, Bagley, and Stewart. I think it just makes the most sense for Bagley to have that ability to get to the paint and score and you know, show some of that like efficiency and effectiveness that he brought to Detroit. I mean, you know, Coach Casey was even talking about it today. He brought up the fact that, Bagley was able to go out and get 17, 18 points when they weren't calling plays for him, when he was out there and the offense wasn't run for him, So I think for that, but also I think with Beef Stew, he's going to start day one no matter what. I don't think he's done anything to lose his spot. And I think if anything, they still have a lot of faith in him. And my argument would be that if you start Bagley and Stewart day one, I think you could potentially play with some of that spacing with Isaiah Stewart in that starting five as well, and allow him some opportunity to play on the perimeter as well, with Bagley playing in the interior on the offensive end. So to me, I think as far as like a day one lineup that makes sense to me, that's a lineup I feel comfortable throwing out there opening night.
Yeah. Deuce, man, what you feeling, bro, for these lineups?
I'm not mad at that. Yeah, I could see something similar. I don't know if I would have Bagley in my starting lineup. I think he would be a great offensive punch off the bench with Killian in that pick and roll lop, situations, and pick and pop as well. But I think we might see second half of the season, because I think people are sleeping on Duren, man. I think people think he's not as ready as he really is. You gotta think he's being coached by Penny Hardaway, man. Rasheed Wallace, Larry Brown. Shout out to Cannon, who was also coached by Larry Brown. Right? High quality guys who have won at the highest level, except for Penny Hardaway, who got to the finals. Right? So I think he's a lot more ready than what we realize. I could see Duren having the type of arc that Drummond had when he first came into the league. Not starting in the beginning, but when he was on the floor, you're like, why isn't this guy starting? I think we could see Duren possibly starting the second half of the season. And I could see a starting lineup of Cade, Ivy, Sadiq, Stu, if he can be consistent with that 3, and Duren at the 5. I think that is a scary, huge team, athletic team. And Casey talked about it too with Al Horford and Williams. He sees that with Stewart and with Duren, with those guys being interchangeable on defense and offense. So that's what I want to see. Maybe not the first half of the season, because Duren may not be ready day one, but second half of the season, that's my dream lineup.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about that as we go through these lineups is there are players here like Stewart and Bagley and Killian who in the past we would not even be sitting here talking about, this is difficult, man. Maybe they got to come off the bench. Like a few short years ago, all these guys are starting for the Pistons. You know what I'm saying? All of these guys. It's not even a question. And I think that's what makes the Killian conversation a little bit more nuanceable. And Bagley and this team, it's not that people are saying that they're not good. It's that Troy is that good. He'll have another guy in here to take your spot, bro. You'll wake up like, well, I thought I was Killian Hayes. You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole other Killian here because Troy, that's how he works. And that's what I like. It sucks because we've grown accustomed to getting attached to and want to see the arc of players and seeing them get contracts and nothing pans out. Nothing panned out. I wanted Drummond to get that contract, and I think that's why I'm a little bit more like, Killian, I can't do that rodeo again. I just personally can't. And if we have a GM that's competent enough to make sure, then because it's a beautiful thing. Guys, we're sitting here talking about Bagley, Stu, and Killian. There's a potential for all of them to come off the bench, not because they suck, but just because Troy is accrued talent, and not just talent that doesn't mind if they start or if they come off the bench, but they want to play hard. And that's an interesting thing here, because I don't know where we go. We could realistically sit here. I don't know how much we take from Jalen Duren from Summer League, but we know he looked like he belonged. Man. I don't know. Like I said, we still got to wait for the NBA. The same things we say about Chet. Duren had some head spacing moments in college, dog. So I do want to I want to see him out there on that NBA court. Mm-hmm. But my interesting lineup would be Duren starting, man. I do. I think Duren and honestly, I believe Duren and Bagley starting was something that I mentioned on the pod. Duren, Bagley, Sadiq, Cade, and Ivy is something that I want to see. I don't know if that's going to necessarily be the starting lineup, but
that's who I would like to see.
What I'm looking at.
Jump shot. I would like to see Bagley improve his jump shot a little bit better.
Yeah, me too.
100.
Also work on his body, man. I feel like his body been the same since he's been in the league. I want to see him work on his body as well.
But King, he's young. He's got plenty of time.
I mean,
I'm kidding. I was just being an idiot, King. I'm just messing with you.
The people want to know, bro. McGusty, is he your sixth man or is that Killian?
He is starter, man.
McGusty is a star. Start him now.
Yeah, six man's beneath McGusty, man. Come on now.
That jersey.
Oh, we forgetting about the livers. Hey, bro.
Hold on. We got to let Carl go because I don't think Carl did his starting five yet.
Yeah, and we'll get in delivers because
Yeah, we've been cutting off Carl a lot by yelling
ahead,
too.
bro.
No, that's
Sorry.
fine. I realized I've been on mute the whole time. So I'm with Deuce. I think Duren is more ready than what we all think he is. I did notice that first game he was better with Ivy on the floor with another playmaker and Killian as well. I think he will probably sit for a while. He is 18. He's still got probably a little bit more to learn. We got some more experienced guys to probably teach him, throw him the ropes. But I think it'll be Cade, Ivy, Bay, Stu, and Bagley.
Yeah.
And I think I thought I remembered Bagley hitting some threes at the end of the season. I thought he showed that he could he could step out too.
Yeah.
So I think with having if we have that internal development and along with Ivy being added to the team, and I think that could be a good starting lineup.
Yeah. And that's solid. I think that's the all comfortable, all chemistry lineup there. Those guys seem to just be rolling together. They look good on the court together. And I think that's the one that I'm probably most comfortable with seeing. But selfishly, man, to see Duren and Ivy out there with Cade, that would be dope. But I kind of think your lineup might be the one that pans out just because it's the surefire one you can depend on day one. If Duren needs time, I would rather him start on the bench than in the G League personally.
Right.
I want him to just get knocked. I want him to be in the NBA, that speed, that athleticism, that physicality. I don't want to see him in the G League getting 40 points to Saban's 36 points. And it's just like, what is he learning down there? Like,
I think in game 2, I think in game 3 of Summer League, like even though like obviously there weren't any of the playmakers out there either, so that just made Duren's job harder. I think we saw some of his, some of not like his limitations, but like some of his he's 18 specifically. Like there were some parts where at the free throw line where he didn't really box out and let guys get past him and get the offensive board, like things like that where Duren, like people brought it up, he probably didn't have to box out at other levels because he was just bigger than everybody else and could just stand in front. But like there's like some of those things, like especially like the fundamentals are going to be the things that are going to be the difference of where he's going to start this season. Because if he comes out and shows that relentlessness in boxing out and running up and down the court, making effort plays, diving out of bounds, going for loose balls, getting above the rim, blocking shots out of bounds, those are going to be the things that are going to get Jalen Duren on the court, man. Absolutely. And I have no doubt that he can do that on the NBA level. It's just a matter of getting that developed. And I mean, the thing that excites me is just having the caliber of playmakers that he's going to be able to work with. Not just Killian, not just Cade, but Ivy as well. All three of them have a playmaking ability, and have not one but multiple guys now that they can throw it above the rim, and that is a genuine threat at all times.
Bro,
it's huge. Like we saw how much having Marvin Bagley on our team made us drastically better.
They shared one lob threat last year. I was just waiting, and then when you got on, I was like, that's it. Bro, they were all sharing one lob threat, and that was halfway through the season after they got Bagley. Now at least we got Duren or Bagley. I feel like those guys might get split up.
Ivy's even a lob threat at times. You can make an argument he can get above
sometimes
the rim.
or all the time. Bro. I'm not trying to have him come back door. Not from the defense.
Yeah,
straight up.
Yeah.
Like, man, you know what? And I'm glad we're kind of on this aspect of the conversation because we don't want to start with, hey, we think roses and flowers and this and that. But when we actually get to sit down and parse through some of this stuff and talk, we see a little bit of promise here, and it kind of speaks to what we're going to continue to talk about, man. Grim Reaper, whatever you guys want to call him, that man is working, and he's working quietly, dog. Nothing that we hear happens. We sat on here, we joked like, we hear about the DeAndre Ayton Pistons stuff. What if it don't happen? And then it was like furthest from the truth. Then the Knicks stuff started happening. We were like, what? Then he started getting players that we were connected to like 2 and 3 years ago. Like he did that with Kelly O last year, then did that with Alec Burks and Noel this year. And that's one player that, guys, 2 years ago, bring Noel here, let him start. Whenever he signed that contract with Dallas or whatever, and the Pistons were kind of in on him, I wanted Noel here. What are we getting? I don't know what we're getting with Noel. Like, honestly, I know who he used to be. I know what I'm hoping he is. If he is what he used to be, he is somebody that could come in and disrupt and be probably one of our best, rim protectors day one. Yeah. But are we getting that Noel? I saw him and Alec Burks, him and Kevin Knox. They're excited to come to Detroit.
Yeah,
I saw what's name was on the live.
He might
and
be
all that.
just that veteran for the young because once we lost Jeremy Grant, we got that much younger. Like we don't have like any veterans on the besides Kojo. Sorry, King, but
yeah, I think he's somebody who can come in and just settle things down.
Listen, Kojo is safe for me now. He's safe. I just
he ain't gonna play.
As long as he ain't playing 28 minutes, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Was it really just when he was starting that was the problem? Now that Corey Joseph's like back to his
Kojo next to Cade, I had a problem with it.
Bro.
Now he's in his rightful place. You're good.
It's incredible. It's incredible what Cade was able to do last year with Kojo as his backcourt mate. Can we just talk about that for a second?
Hey, Cade, we know you're not going to talk about it, but brother, we're impressed.
Oh my God.
Bro,
man.
you know what's interesting to me? They got Trey Lyles because they said they needed a pick and roll partner for Cade, right? Because they didn't have a pick and roll big on the team at that time. People don't understand that. When Troy makes deals, these things, they matter to ways we don't know. And he was trying to get these guys pick and roll players. And Cade showed that he can just kind of run this ship himself. And you know who Lyles actually went to go help? Killian off the bench with that pick and roll. And so it is making me excited. Look, to King's point, we all are going to temper what our expectations because Cade does have some gunners off the bench this year. He got a player he can, it's not like, okay, I'm going in, I'm going to run the pick and roll with Marvin Bagley, who's already been in the game for 8-10 minutes and he's tired. His picks, him setting the pick is going to be different. And I like Bagley. I'm hoping that they shore up some stuff. I know not playing all that well and not having the chemistry and not having the court awareness in Sacramento affects things. But does anybody else love the way Jalen Duren sets picks?
Bro,
no, I thought he set some pretty decent screens.
His body.
Roll, the lob threat.
Yeah.
He more than pairing Killian up with a shooter. I think Jalen Duren, those types of guys, or Marvin Bagley, whoever he comes off the bench with, I think that they're going to actually help him more than having a shooter. I think Cade needs a shooter more than he needs a pick and roll big with him. But, it's going to be an interesting thing because what is that bench looking like? It's going to be semi-tough as it relates to what we believe these players can be, man. If it winds up being, Killian, Duren, who else? Livers. Oh, my gosh. Livers.
Yeah. Don't forget about Livers, man.
Burks.
Yeah. Yep. Burks.
I mean, like Ashton said it earlier. This roster is 12 men deep. I mean,
this is the interesting one because I actually think our guy might be out there who we've been talking about all night because we saw that last year. Every night to close the game. This is something in the second half of the season that we did see Killian. He was out there on the court, but that's because it was just Kojo that he had to beat out last year. This year, obviously, you got Jaden Ivey, but I could see them closing with all three of them because they're excellent free throw shooters. If Killian's head is in the game, he can get to the rack. And at the end of the games, what do you want? You want to put the defense in the bonus. You want to get to the rack. And you want to have guys that, if you have to, can hit a shot.
Yep.
Killian, Ivey, and Cade at their potential. That's a scary kind of closing lineup. And then the bigs probably go. That's the tough one, man. I don't know what bigs you close with.
Before we go to bigs, I want to just highlight Killian because we know the end of the game is about possessions, right? And one thing that Killian does, he don't turn that ball over, man. He makes good decisions with the basketball. And so I really could see him being very effective down the stretch with those other two in the backcourt to end the game. I really could see it.
How was Duren's I'm interested to go and look up Duren's free throw percentage because I was actually impressed with his free throw shooting.
Yeah, he had good form.
Mid-70s.
Yeah, it's great form. Yeah. So, as far as a closing lineup,
he was a 62.5% free throw shooter in college.
Oh,
but
that's gonna improve.
He took about 3.6 attempts per game. So not really a whole lot of attempts either.
Yeah, that's gonna go up.
Mid-range.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm speaking on that is because we don't, like I said, of course, we obviously got to see him out there in NBA games, but I'm trying to think of who's a liability at that position. You know what I'm saying? When it comes, I don't want a team to be able to hack a guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be interesting in that 4 and 5 spot closing games.
Stu, Bagley, and Duren, I don't think that they are the best at free throw shooting.
Right.
Yeah. Who's the best out of those three? I'm thinking.
Oh man,
is it Stu?
I think it's Stu.
Stu.
It might be Stu.
Yeah, I think it is Stu. Yeah.
I think
Well,
I could see them like ending games with like Noel and Stewart out there together. I could see them like at least at the beginning of the season turning to some of that, like, because I think what you see with Dwayne
That's
Casey
decent.
is that as the season goes on, as the games get as you're at the end of the game, that lineup tends to get younger and younger as the year goes on, and he generally lets his veterans go out there and start with those fourth quarter opportunity. I'm not saying that's how it should be. I'm just saying that's just what he's done. Like last year we saw him do it with Kojo and Killian and stuff. So I just think, I think at least to start the season, I would expect, just from patterns that it would probably be something similar. But I hope with Killian at least that he would be out there at those end game lineups. I just think for Duren, I think he would want I don't think he'd want to put him out there right away.
No.
Yeah.
And see, obviously we got to, we got Sadiq. Sadiq got to be
at the 4.
Absolutely.
Of course.
That has to happen. So it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. First of all, I do want to briefly touch on Sadiq because you bring up his name of someone that has to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that story by James Edwards III about what Sadiq has been doing this. Shout out James, great writer.
Yes.
Even better person.
Yeah.
Like honestly, one of the best human beings you'll ever meet. I love James.
Absolutely.
Shout out James Edwards III.
Yep.
If you're not reading his work, you're doing a mistake. But anyway, he did a story about and did a profile about how Sadiq, they told him that he needed to find a hobby this summer. And of course, Sadiq says, all right, I'm going to go pick up hiking. And naturally, he doesn't do it for the same reason that you and me do, where he just wants to go see nature. No, of course, this guy's out here playing 4D chess saying, I'm going to go pick up hiking and train in Colorado and high altitude training this summer. So I'm in the best conditioning of my life for basketball. Like the fact that this is the mindset and the mentality, and that he was like, hey,
between the ears,
and to one of the film operators for the Pistons, that he was like, hey, come with me to Colorado and let's go do this, doing 2-a-days and then going hiking in between like every other week as well.
Yeah.
So like, seriously, man, like Troy Weaver said it himself. Everyone said, but like when we say Sadiq is different, we mean different.
Man, that's why I always every once in a while I'll go out there and tweet and say, hey, stop sleeping on Sadiq, bro. Give him respect. I'm telling you, because like I said, when he was drafted, man, so Sadiq, he's just gonna be a 3-and-D guy. You know what I'm saying? And like he's making everybody put socks in their mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
His work ethic alone is going to make him a special player.
Yeah.
And he's already a good. It's not like he's in a below average player where he can work his way up to being an average player. He's already a very, very talented player. So with that mindset, he's only going to get better year. He's the kind of guy where every year he's going to add something different to his game, and it's going to be noticeable from day one. We saw it last year. It took a few weeks for it to develop with his, with being able to create for himself. But we saw the growth. What's it going to be next year? I want to see what that's going to be next year.
Yeah.
And having more talent, that helps too. You know what I'm saying? Because these guys just didn't have the guys available. You know what I'm saying? Especially the veterans not being around. The real veterans. No, Corey Joseph.
No, you're right, man. You speaking truth. As it relates to Killian and all that, we want to see how he is on this team. We want to see how he fits. We want to see if he grows. Obviously, if he wants to be here, he's gonna. I believe he's the type of player that's gonna work towards that end. And it's gonna be an interesting thing, man. This season's gonna be an interesting one. But with Sadiq Bay, somebody said an interesting comment about it's funny how we were mentioning these 3-guard rotations. Everybody in the comments, and including us, nobody suggested that Sadiq wasn't going to be out there. One of the things that Dwayne Wade talked about is Sadiq. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was in agreement. Sadiq at the 4 to close out games is something that Dwayne has talked about. He wants Sadiq to be able to be interchangeable. I saw someone say he slimmed down a little. Will he still be able to play the 4? When you're closing out games and you have Sadiq at the 4, you're going to make the defense have to change up who they have on the court. Seriously. Because what 4 is guarding Sadiq Bay at the end of the game? And you got playmakers like Killian and Cade and such like that on the court with him. So I see King, bro. What's going on, brother?
Bro, MK, I'm finna come find you, bro. Where do you live? You trying to make my life miserable, man. Please put that comment up there, man.
We're gonna be Dwayne's assistant coach, bro.
Adam,
would
I'm
give up
only
the
wearing
coach.
these because Kool-Aid's wearing them. I gave into peer pressure. Okay, I followed the guards of my host here. Okay, I'm just trying to participate. Okay, like, okay.
Adam, I'm coming for you, bro.
Oh my gosh, Adam, I love you, man.
Adam, dog. Shout out to Adam, man.
Shout out to Adam. Shout out to Adam.
Dog.
But the answer is I'm gonna stop wearing these when I don't look fly as hell in them.
Hey,
Ooh.
let's get it, Sean. Look at that. Look
Adam.
at that. Let me get a little
Adam.
Kanye West.
Adam got me dead, bro.
Adam,
He said it. I didn't. Y'all can't blame me. He
Oh
said
my god. Jeez. Jeez. He's going in right now. He's going in. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Sounds bro.
Just the just the tip of the.
Oh my gosh.
I think
Candace-
we can end on that one, bro.
Oh my God.
Dog.
Yeah, that's a mic drop right there. I think
I'm
that's-
not even putting these things that I'm seeing in the comments, dog.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not even putting this, dog. Did somebody just say, no, I'm not even reading this, dog.
Hey, but hey, man, real talk though.
People are crazy.
Yeah, but hey, man, real talk though. Thank you to everyone for tuning in.
Yes.
Whether you're someone at home, apparently, whether you're Cade or Ashton that was tuned in as well. That's just crazy to me. But listen, man, that just speaks to that speaks to the community that we're building, and that speaks to the impact that we're having, because the fact that you guys are tuning in means that other people are tuning in. So seriously, we want to thank you all so much, because Woodward Pistons, man, we want to be at the forefront. We want to be the hub, the go-to place for your Pistons coverage. And whenever anything happens Pistons related, that this is the first and only place you think of going, man. And because we have some of the best voices in Detroit, in the state of Michigan, talking about this team on this channel, man. You name it, you name who's in the Pistons community, they've been here, man. If you're MK, you don't King will come find you. And I saw that jump shot, man. He can cook. If he's gonna shoot his shot at you, MK, he won't miss. He's a bucket with the bullet. But no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, man, but King's one of the best content creators in this game. Carl's one of the best editors and basketball people we have on Twitter in this game. Deuce is just one of the best overall people, creators, talented people we have in this community. Kool-Aid is just one of the hardest working human beings you'll ever meet. He's one of the most passionate people, and absolutely is the godfather and does a lot of great things for Woodward Pistons.
Just don't talk about Killian Hayes.
All these people.
It gets you, man.
Hey, so I think that the topic for next week is when is Killian Hayes going MVP, and y'all two can just have that nice conversation.
No, Simon and I talked beforehand. I was like, bro, Killian Hayes tonight.
Yeah.
Like, let's get it.
I'm bored.
I gotta come out here to defend.
Hey, let me say something real quick for that dude, Guy Zuka, man. I want to address a mistake that I made. I was reading the "I'm not a Detroit Lions fan" comment. That guy is a square, so I apologize for going off on you for that. I'll be, like I said, I'll be a bigger man than the Lions fan, dude. You're a Lions fan.
Yeah.
Adam would love that.
Oh my God, bro. Let's end it on that note. Let's end it on that last comment, bro.
Well, with that,
Adam,
man, seriously,
Adam, I love you,
listen,
bro.
man. Listen, follow all these guys on Twitter. Be tuned in. But in addition, hey,
Shout out GoBlue Lexi too.
Yeah, shout out GoBlue Lexi, 100%. But also, hey, the Pistons buffed up this offseason. So did we. And with that, man.
Adam,
we love y'all, man.
I don't be authorizing us too much, dog.
Yeah, Adam's the he missed it, man. Adam would be proud. I just straight up told someone to stop being a bitch earlier.
Yeah, well, it got real tonight. This is probably
it was great.
Got me slipping on here tonight, man. Adam is streaming everything. Just
y'all saw my background. I had to go on MJ Thriller with the popcorn. Y'all had me entertained.
It was entertaining. It was definitely entertaining.
We know how to blow up the internet. I think we're doing a pretty good job at that. But
yeah.
My gosh, this was a memorable one. This is going to be one that when we're looking back on the table talks, this is going to be in the rafters of one of the best episodes we've done, without a doubt.
That's right.
So
I think we forgot to talk about Kevin Knox. We can start next week.
That's next week for sure.
I still forget he's on the team.
This is the analysis that is talking about Kevin Knox.
Real
There we
quick,
go.
Ashton did tweet though. Ashton did tweet. Don't sleep on Kevin Knox. So I want to see what he's going to bring this season. I'm gonna give him a chance. I want to see what he can do here.
No, there are people who said it. There are people who said there's talent there. They said that these guys that Detroit got were in New York. That's not the best of organizations, and that's
change the scenery. Change the scenery.
And these are guys that Detroit wanted.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Sacramento. Facts.
wait, one more question.
Knox and Kojo.
Knox and Kojo.